Hi, this is Mike from MikesPenTurningZ.com. You've probably been on my Etsy site, which is Mike's Pen Turnings, or my Zabet site, also Mike's Pen Turnings. And I've been asked by several people how to actually load their pen. So I'm just gonna give you a quick demo on how to do that. I've already loaded this one, but I'm gonna unload it. And I'm going to give you just a quick demo about how things work. Probably going to get some ink on my fingers, but unfortunately sometimes you can't help that. So one of the things that you might want to just take a look at is how do you regulate ink flow? Okay, so if your pen is too dry, it's not going to flow ink well, and you'll know because it'll be skipping. You notice how this one doesn't skip at all. This works fine. And there isn't a whole lot you have to do to them. Most of my pens are pretty close, but I do not wet my fountain pens. So you might have to make some changes. So in order to make it flow more, if you just look at this, you'll see, if put your finger back here so you're supporting it, just kind of push with your fingernail and you'll see the nib spread. You can kind of work that out a little bit if it's too wet. If it's too dry, I mean. If it's too wet, what you might do is push on the sides and just kind of get this ball to overlap, and that'll tighten it back up. So see here, I haven't hurt this one iota. Still working great. So if you look down inside here, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see down in there or not, but there's a little sharp nib down inside there. And your ink cartridge looks like this, and what's going to happen, this whole thing is going to kind of push down in there over that little sprig down there. So all I'm doing, okay, I can feel it just engaged, and I'm going to push, and boom, on it goes. And I did get a little bit of ink on my finger. Generally, keep a paper towel nearby, but this pen is again ready to go. So I won't bother putting it back in right now, but you would just screw this back in and it's ready to rock. So anyway, let's pull this back off. Now this is a converter. All my pens of this type, with this type of hardware, you'll see there's metal, then there's a ring, then there's metal. They all come with a converter. I don't mess around selling these separately. I always include them. So if you're going to use that, you'd have a bottle of ink here. Obviously, I don't have one out, but it pushes on exactly the same way, and I just felt it click. You can hear it too. Then, so I've already got this thing screwed down. You notice what it's going to, well, I guess it pulled the ink back out of the nib. But so as you can see, this comes up and down. So before you put it in the ink, you would have it all the way down. Then you dip your nib in probably about to here, somewhere in here. You'll know, because if it's not sucking in the ink, you'll have to put it in further. Then you just slowly, with the nib in the ink, just start drawing it out, and it starts to draw a vacuum. As you can see right there, where it pulled the ink right back out of the nib even. It'll draw it right up, and it nicely fills that barrel. And then you're ready to go. You just put this back in, screw it on, and well, that one won't be right away because it doesn't have any ink in it. So let's unscrew it. So I held it here and here, and just unscrew it, no big deal. Pull it back off. Again, no big deal. Push this back in, and you're going to feel it. Oh, there it goes. It just engaged. I felt it kind of click on. Screw it all back in. This hardware really works nice. I've made hundreds of these pens using this hardware, and This hardware is rock solid. It's good hardware. It's not cheap hardware. It's just very nice hardware. If you've bought one of my pens and you've got it home, you already know how nicely it works. So anyway, I think that covers it. If you want to check me out, you can just go to MikesPenTurningZ.com. It's MikesPenTurningZ.com, and that will redirect you on my Etsy store. But that's about all I've got to say about this. So thanks, Mike and Gail. That's how you use your fountain pen. That's all there is to it. Thank you.